Let's start with some indoor checks while the bosun lays out the pilot ladder for inspection. Let's see if the pilot ladder is certified. If you have a second pilot ladder, make sure that it is certified as well. There you go. As long as you're there, few more things to check. Check the plant maintenance system. When was it put into use? Check that you have an inventory maintained for the record of pilot ladders. If the pilot ladder was ever repaired, check how it was done and when. Make sure that it was inspected by class. Now this is a tricky question. Where would you get this information? When was it inspected by class? Well, pilot ladder is part of your safety equipment certificate. The last SEQ certificate inspection date is when it was last inspected by class. There you go, that's the date we are looking for. Now that we have finished the indoor checks, let's go on deck and inspect the ladder. Carry out your physical inspection of the ladder. It should all be in clean condition. Inspect the side ropes and the wedges. There should not be any missing wedges. The side rope should have a firm grip. Make sure it is in order. That's a bad example. Should not be like that. Let's inspect the steps now. The steps should be clean. They should not be painted. They should all have non-slip surface, including the rubber steps. Check the condition of the rubber steps, that they are not cracked. Once again, they should be clean, firmly fixed. Spacing should be even. Look at that, a broken and cracked step. Make sure you don't have that. That's a very shabby ladder which could come off at any point. Make sure that the side of the ladder is marked with heights along the length. There you can see 6 meters, 5 meters, 4 meters and so on. We're going to inspect the spreaders now. Check the condition of the spreaders. There should not be any cracks. Should be firmly fixed. Spacing should be even. Let me show you an example of a very, very badly fixed spreader that's really dangerous. So this is the marking which relates your ladder with the certificate. It should be clearly marked. The pad eyes on deck should be color coded with SWL, unlike this one which has no markings at all. The pilot axis should be firmly marked on deck in clean condition. The duty officer must be checking this, unlike this one. The pilot ladder must be marked with tags for easy identification with your PMS. The length of the ladder should be enough to reach the water line in any condition. Now that we have finished with the static checks, we are going to go for the rigging of the ladder. Let's rig it up. The rigging of the ladder must be done safely under supervision of a responsible officer. The ladder must be made fast on deck firmly using the pad eyes on deck. There should be a life buoy next to it with a line and a light, but the line should not be connected to the buoy. It should be firmly resting on the ship side with all the steps touching the ship side, and the area should be free of discharges. Look at that ladder. It's a very poor rigging. None of the steps are touching the ship side. If there is a tripping line, there's a right way to connect it. It should not be fastened to the bottom part of the ladder below the spreader. It should always be above the spreader level. The illumination of the area should be adequate, which is usually provided by the deck lights, especially the searchlight on the bridge wings. People rigging should be wearing proper personal protective equipment, including safety harness, life jackets where necessary. The pilot ladder should be firmly fastened to the ship side. You can see there's a magnetic clip over here. There can be other system to fasten it. That's a very, very wrongly rigged ladder that can come apart any moment. Now, the height above the waterline must be suited to the pilot's requirements, and it should never be touching the water. The pilot access should be checked by the duty officer after rigging. There should be a safe access for the pilot to come up. That's an example of a very unsafe access. It should not be this way. If you are connecting man ropes as required by the pilots, they should be between 28 to 32 mm Manila ropes only. Let's go for rigging a combination ladder and see what are the precautions to be taken over there. Now, if the freeboard of the ship is more than 9 meters, a combination ladder must be used. A single pilot ladder should not be used. Anyone who's involved in rigging of the combination ladder should always be wearing safety harness and life jackets. Proper PPE should be worn. Now, some ships are using a fall preventer device attached with a harness. This is extremely useful and increases the safety. The angle of inclination of the gangway should not be more than 45 degrees. That's the inclinometer of the gangway, as you can see. The gangway or accommodation ladder should always be leading aft of the ship. It should also be connected firmly, attached to the ship's side. The pilot's climb is expected to be between 1.5 to 9 meters, not less than 1.5, not more than 9 meters, and the pilot must be escorted to the bridge when he arrives.